This shirt would look a whole heck of a lot better if I went to the gym. But nobody really wants to do that on a hot breezy day. They want to talk about bows instead. Full disclosure, I had no intentions of purchasing one of these bows this year until Bowtech reached out, said, hey, we're not quite selling as many of these things as we would like. Here's a special offer. I said, screw it, I'll try it. And I don't know if they weren't giving our road reps, samples of these, because mine didn't have one at the time. It's not his fault. But call me old fashioned, but I prefer to try before I buy, especially with a bow that retails for $2,000. This is the 2025 Bowtech Virtue, and I'm gonna start this video off by letting y'all know, in my opinion, this is one of the, if not the most underrated, not talked about enough bow of the year. This bow has an all magnesium riser, which is still not, I wouldn't say it's still relatively new, but people are still dabbling in this material as far as making bows out of it. It does look like it has titanium bolts, so your limb pocket bolts, your set screw for your limb pocket, and the actual limb bolt itself, which you use to adjust your poundage up and down. I believe the tag weight on this bow was 3.8 pounds, and I did put it on a scale with the good old-fashioned whiskey biscuit, because I'm not going to do a speed test. I don't hardly ever do that. I think it's going to change in the future, but for right now, I just throw those on there just to shoot the bow. And long story short, the bow came in a little over 4 pounds, so I would say that 3.8 is pretty accurate. Does have a rotating mod, which is one of the things that I've really liked about Bowtech, not just because it's a rotating mod. I know other companies have that, but they actually put the draw links on the freaking mod, so you don't have to look up what A is. You don't have to look up what B is. It actually says 29, 29 and a half, 30, so on and so forth. It does still have flip disc technology, which if you're familiar with Bowtech, they've had it for quite a few years. You have a comfort and performance mode. Comfort's obviously, as the name implies, going to give you the best draw cycle that particular Bowtech can give you. And then if you want a little bit more feet per second, you can flip the mods upside down, put it in the correct draw length, and then it's going to give you roughly 6 to 8 feet per second from the videos I've seen. It does add a little bit of a hump at the end, so to speak. But, you know, if you want more speed, you gotta deal with a little weirder draw cycle. Y'all probably heard me talk about it before, and this is just a personal preference of mine, but I'm typically not a huge fan of a bow that's gonna be under a 33-inch axle to axle, and this one comes in just shy at 32 inches axle to axle, with a 6.19 brace height. We'll just call it 6 1/4. So should get some pretty decent speeds out of this bow. I think IBO speed was 341, so nothing too crazy. Kind of right there in the wheelhouse as far as what most flagship bows are producing as far as speed goes. I'm gonna go ahead and let y'all know right off the rip that even though I just said I'm not a fan personally of bows that are under a 33-inch axle to axle, I shot this bow and then had to go back and shoot it again, and then shot it again, and then shot it again in the store. And yeah, I got one coming for myself now. I like this thing. It of course has my favorite feature about Bowtech, which is the Deadlock technology. I talk about it as much as I can because I don't think it gets talked about enough. But it is unarguably the easiest system as far as shimming a bow, because there's no shims. If you can operate an Allen key, you can paper tune this bow as far as your left and right goes. Unscrew the set screw or just loosen it a little bit, and then the same size Allen key, put it in there where it says tune, and rotate your Allen key clockwise or counterclockwise to shift the cam either left or right, starting with the top typically, and then you go on to the bottom and do the same thing. The grip is the first thing I noticed about the bow aside from the weight when I grabbed it. This grip seems a little bit more elongated. It's the same width as your traditional flagship bows from Bowtech have been for the past couple years, you know, kind of narrow, a little skinny. But this one actually has, like I said, a little bit more length to it, so it feels like you actually got something in your hand. Of course, it also has the grip lock, which you can adjust that out to add or take away palm pressure depending on how you like to grip a bow. This bow is still going to offer the center mass option, which is only available through Black Gold since they're a sister company to Bowtech, which I am not personally a huge fan of. Obviously, you can still mount on your standard bracket on the side of the riser like you've always been able to do with every bow in the market. So the biggest issue here, or not issue I should say, my biggest pet peeve here is I would really like to see a pick mount option on the front, just to give the consumer and myself a whole lot more options as far as sights go. I get it, you're trying to corner the market, but let's be honest, you know, there's a lot of other sights out there that people want to use and not just Black Gold. This bow is available in quite a few different colors, just solid colors right now to my knowledge. I don't think there's any camos available. Obviously the gray I have here, which looks really slick. They also have some kind of blue, a black, a tan, and either another tan or another gray. So a couple different color options there. But the main thing I want to talk about with this bow is the freaking draw cycle. It is so delicious. Lord have mercy. Can I get her phone number? Even though the brace height is arguably a little bit on the shorter side, and the axle to axle is a little bit on the shorter side, hats off to you, I was about to say Botox, Bowtech on this one. I was delightfully shocked, and I don't mean that from a vibration in the hand standpoint, because there ain't a whole lot there either if you want to talk about the vibration. I mean, that was another thing. The draw cycle felt really good. I was like, oh, that's nice. And then I shot it. I'm like, hey, how's your mom and him? It is a very consistent draw cycle, especially comparing it to other 2025 flagship bows that are on the market this year. I'll use the same analogy that I use with my 34-inch prime all the time. What you start with is what you're going to end with. There's no really bad buildup, maybe just a hair due to the brace height being, like I said, a little less than 6 1/4. But once you get past that, I mean, it is straight back to the ballpark, and then it's ready to hit a home run. The back wall is extremely solid, which Bowtech with these cams, especially the smaller ones, they've always had a pretty decent back wall in my opinion. I really have never noticed in the past 5 years any kind of sponginess on their flagship bows, so keep doing that. Oh, I forgot to mention, some of y'all ain't gonna like this, but draw length ranges from 25, I just was bragging about it, let's see here, 25 to 30 inches. I know you guys that are 6'4" are not gonna like that, but if I could drop anything in the suggestion box for Bowtech for 2026, y'all make this bad mug in a 34 axle to axle with a 6 1/4, 6.5 inch brace height. Yeah, holla at your boy, because I'll be getting one of them too. It's got a huge cage riser, which I've always kind of been a fan of bows that have the cage riser, especially one that's so wide. It really helps it hold on target, I feel like. At least it has for me so far. Obviously, I haven't put a sight on it or anything like that. I'm really excited to get mine in probably 6 to 8 weeks if I had to guess, and build it out and then shoot long distance with it. But, I mean, just shooting this one out here and at the shop, like I said, so far it's a 10 out of 10. And I'll be honest with you, I could have already sold this bow if it went out another 1/2 inch in draw length. I had a gentleman come in. He wanted to shoot this one in a prime form, and he really liked this bow, but since he was a little bit taller, he liked the string angle on the 34-inch axle bow a little bit better, and it went to a 30.5 inch draw. So ultimately, he made the right decision. Even though he liked the way this one felt, the way it shot, the other bow did fit him better. But like I said, I'll drop something in the suggestion box saying, hey, if y'all can come out with this in a 34, yeah, and it goes to a 31-inch draw. Oh Lord have mercy. Or 31.5. Let's go crazy one time. I know a lot of people are going to drop it in the comment section and say that bow is too expensive. When did archery become so expensive? You know what? People drive around in Lamborghinis and Ferraris too. I mean, this is a bow for somebody who is extremely serious about archery, or just has a Black American Express and doesn't care, and wants a lot of performance and a lot of perks with their purchase. And I said it in my short video, and I'm going to tell you guys and gals right here on the old TubeView, if you have not shot this bow, if this bow is in your budget and you have a local dealer that's stocking them, get out of here, fly. That hole is exit only. Get out of my ear. Ow. Georgia humidity got the bugs out in full force. There goes a rabbit. Could have been supper. Anyways, back to the bow review. Like I said, if this bow is in your budget and you're somebody that wants to experience a phenomenal draw cycle on a short axle bow, and you got a local dealer that has one nearby, I would highly recommend giving this one a shot. I'm sorry that I didn't have them sooner, but once again, I don't typically like to buy something unless I see it first or shoot it a good bit. And that way I can kind of gauge if it's going to fit into a different category or be competitive in some of the categories with the bow brands I already stock, or bows in general I already stock. And let me go ahead and tell y'all something right here. If you shoot this thing, the pro shop's going to have a hard time getting it out of your hand.